Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is our wrestling show we bring you every week, Pro Wrestling Weekly. Thank you for joining us tonight. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button, drop a like on the video, and of course, share the content. All that kind of good stuff. We really appreciate it. We will keep you updated on the Champions League as our chat always does as well. We've got Real Madrid, Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid, 1 minute gone, no score. So we'll keep an eye on that and keep you updated. And just a big shout out if Romy One Kenobi is in the chat. He's probably watching the game, but if he is in the chat, best of luck tonight, my friend. I hope you have a good one. As always, we've got a bit to cover tonight. A few bits. We've got a Backlash preview. We're going to take a look at a Raw recap. Some comments from Tony Khan. We're going to talk about that angle with Tony Khan and how it fared out in relation to the draft. We're going to be talking about his comments about AEW and WWE and how you feel about them. So big up to anyone in the chat. We're also going to be getting an update on MJF. We're also going to be talking about the draft lottery in the bag 2024 now. How did you feel about it? What changes stuck out to you? Certainly the NXT ones are ones to be quite excited about. But the rest of it was kind of blasé. We got a little bit of a conversation to have tonight in relation to WrestleMania 41 location. Still a little bit up in the air, but it looks like it's leaning now towards Las Vegas. So what does that mean for Minnesota? Will they have to be compensated, or what happens there? No, they basically came out and said that they had it, and it looked like they did have it all but confirmed. So we're waiting to hear what do we see with that. But if it's in Las Vegas, myself and Dino and Darren, all the lads, Graham, JR, will all be on the road to Las Vegas, no doubt about it. And in the process of making the hangover 4 or 5, goodness knows, Mike Tyson tattoos might even pick up a tiger on the way. Let's see what happens, but it will be amazing. Also going to talk a little bit about, we got a commentary from Gunther this week on one of the podcasts talking about how he felt about Sami Zayn ending the Intercontinental reign and stuff like that. And he had a lot of positive stuff to say about Sami Zayn, so really, really impressed from that point of view. We're going to be talking about Tony Khan in the short space of time has dropped 2 TV contracts. The Zone is gone and VIX is gone. What does that mean for them? We've seen commentary coming out from the Zone as well. People from the Zone saying that they really just didn't really buy into the pro wrestling project, so they didn't really push it. A lot of people weren't even hardly aware that it was there and stuff like that. So we got an update on MJF as well, and I did a little bit of something different this week in relation to history. So have a think about it in the chat as well. What I did with history this week is I picked out some Backlash moments and I picked out some Backlash matches. So if any comes to mind, or you can think of any of your favorite Backlash moments or matches, drop them in the chat there and we'll chat about them. And I also have some notable birthdays. So what I think I will do is a little bit of a change from the normal history thing. What we'll do is the week of a pay-per-view, what we will do is we will focus on the history of that pay-per-view. And I think that works a little bit better for the show. Into the chat, Daz is there. What's the crack, Noel? All good, Daz. Good to see you there, my friend. What did I think of the draft? I didn't think much. We'll get into talking about it and stuff like that. I didn't think a whole lot about it. I did really enjoy the presenters that came out, like the Dudleys and Teddy Long and stuff like that. No, that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that bit of it. No major changes as far as I can see, really. Like, it was all about hullabaloo about nothing, but I did really enjoy the NXT side of it, and we will talk about that later. I have a slide on it, so it's definitely worth having a conversation about, especially with Lyra Valkyrie, one of our own there, getting promoted up onto Raw, which is absolutely fantastic for her. Now, we for a long, long time now, nearly since she was a kid and stuff like that, and she's grafted her ass off between Fight Factory Pro Wrestling and OTT to get to where she's got, so fair play to her. Long may her success continue. Eno's in. What's the crack, Noel? All good. Sean is in. Evening, Noiler. I hope you're having a good night rocking the hot rod ringer at the minute. I love it, Sean. Love it, love it, love it. Vince and Shane against Michaels and God, presumably on there with the greats. Yeah, no, there's a few in there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, crazy stuff. Acers is in. Big up Acers. Best Backlash pay-per-view is 99 or 2000. Yeah, I've a few in there. What have I got? I've got a match. I've got 2 matches from 2000 and I've got 1 match from 99, of course. No guessing what the 1 match from 99 is. Eno's in. Tony Khan has me in knots laughing. Just unbelievable. The Pepsi of pro wrestling. AEW, what the fuck? Absolutely crazy. Best Backlash matches, Ultimate Submission match, Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. I think it's in the moments, but it's not on the list. I don't think. Connor Kelly's in. Big up, Connor. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Niall. Austin helping the Rock at Backlash 2000 was a top Backlash moment. It was indeed. Quality stuff. Right. Before we begin, actually, Sean, if you're still in the chat, I will be doing a review tomorrow night of Dark Side of the Ring, Sandman. And I thought it might be cool that maybe we do one of the reviews live. So if you're up for it, I can't think of a better person to come on to talk about Sandman than yourself. So let me know in the chat if you're free tomorrow night to come on and talk about Sandman, Dark Side of the Ring Sandman. It's airing tonight, so most of us will probably see it tomorrow. Let me know if that fits your schedule and let me know what time suits. I can, if I have to go earlier, I can go earlier. I can do it at 7. I can do it at 7:30. It's only going to be about a half an hour, quick preview. But if you fancy coming on live to talk about Sandman, I know you do love him. I just thought I'd throw it out there because we haven't done a live review yet, really. It's all being kind of recorded. So let me know if you're up for that. If you are up for it, I'll set up a show in the morning and I'll send you on the links and all that kind of stuff. Right. Oh, wow, that would be awesome. I have to clear my extremely busy Hollywood like schedule. That's it. Dare I say, do we have to contact your agent? Who were they talking about the other night? One Harvey Weinstein. There you go. Yeah. So if that suits, let me know what time suits. You want to get it done early and stuff like that. Or I'm normally home around 6:30, so we can be ready to go from 7 if you want to do a half hour, 7 to 7:30, or if you want to do 7:30 to 8, whatever it is. It won't be long, but certainly it'll be entertaining. Right, Backlash review. What are we thinking about this Backlash at the moment? Have we all come down from the highs of WrestleMania, as they say? The ratings are hurting. Both Raw and SmackDown have snapped back. Not necessarily in terms of, I mean, obviously the draft is obviously a difficult one. It's not everyone's cup of tea because it normally flatters to deceive. But also, I think as well as we had the NBA playoffs on and we had the NFL draft as well that was consuming people and kind of causing a draining in the ratings, if you like, for both Raw and SmackDown. So let's see how it fares out from next week onwards when it doesn't have some of those distractions and stuff. And we'll see where we stand then. No doubt there was going to be a kind of a leveling out, if you like, or a little bit of retraction after WrestleMania and stuff like that. It's hard to keep that momentum there, especially where some of the key players have left the building that were there in the build up to Mania and stuff like that. And we did say that Cody getting the belt, Damian Priest getting the belt, and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to feel the same as Seth and as Roman and stuff like that. So it might take a bit of time to settle in. But let me know your thoughts on the card. What do you think about it? I'm sure there's going to be a few more matches, or maybe I've missed a few as well when I was preparing the slide. Sean's in. I'll be in touch, but I'd absolutely be up for it. Yeah, just let me know. Let me know what time suits and we'll get it sorted. 6-pack of Budweiser and cigarette and Singapore can. Absolutely. We better listen. This is gonna have everything in, isn't it? Dark Side of the Ring, Sandman. Where do we begin? At Aces, can of Orchard Thieves and a back scratcher for me more likely. Hey, whatever works, whatever you can get your hands on, that's the way it goes. I just want to make a big shout out as well. Kenny, I'll come to your comment now in a second. I want to make a big shout out as well there. I just want to say thank you to the Scottish wrestlers who came over for the OTT camp. They dropped into the shop and we had a lot of fun with them and stuff like that. They were buzzing and stuff like that, and they were talking so highly of the camp and Paddy and Joe and all the boys as you would expect and stuff like that. So hats off to all the Scottish guys and girls who came over for the camp, and also I think competed on shows on Sunday in the Ringside Club, as far as I know. Also, I want to make a shout out to the two boys who came in as well from Barcelona. Ucha Libre Barcelona as well. Lovely to network with those guys as well. Also told me to hit them up if I'm ever in Barcelona, go and see some shows and gym shows and stuff like that. No, had a look at some of their stuff on YouTube. Looked decent, looked really, really good and stuff like that. So it was great to see those guys. And it's amazing when you have the shop this long as well, because you could tell when wrestlers walk through the door because they always have the backpack on the back and they always have the trolley case for Ryanair. And it's such a giveaway every single time. And everything with the two boys came in yesterday from Barcelona, Ucha Libre Barcelona, and I said, You're both wrestlers, aren't you? Yeah. And said you were out for the OTT camp. Yeah. And it's funny the way it just sticks out that kind of way. But a lot of fun. So shout out to both them, the guys and girls from Scotland who came in. Really enjoyed chatting to them about old school wrestling and what we like now and what the scene is like over in Scotland and up and down England and all that. I love to hear that kind of stuff because at times the struggle is real, and we spoke about COVID times and the Me Too and all that kind of stuff, and it was good and refreshing to hear from those guys and girls as well. And also the two guys from Barcelona. It was great meeting them and stuff like that. Kenny, card on paper looks good, but results too predictable. That's the problem, isn't it? We're not expecting that crazy out of it, are we? Which means that's the if there's no trepidation, you know, love an international pay per view, but this card isn't that good. I'll tell you one thing I did look. I tried to get tickets for Clash at the Castle, right? And I was bounced around anywhere. There was four of us supposed to be going, so we were looking for the combo ticket for SmackDown and Clash at the Castle. And I was bounced around anywhere from £350 all the way up to £700-800. And that on top of a ferry and on top of your hotel for 2 nights in Scotland is going to work out pretty close to not too close, not too far off the guts of a grand, really. And I was thinking, for a grand, I'd probably get the SummerSlam in Cleveland. For a grand, I'd probably get to Toronto to Money in the Bank. So I started searching around today. There is tickets available today on Viagogo, I think it is, for Backlash in France this weekend. So you get SmackDown on the Friday and Backlash on the Saturday. Now, the seats are in the back section. They're not ringside or anything. €73 plus the booking fee. It's probably about 90. €90 for Backlash in France and SmackDown on the Friday night this Friday. Then I had a look at Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank, SmackDown on the Friday night, Money in the Bank on the Saturday in Toronto. Same combination. Again, the same type of seats. €273. And we are getting roasted here for Clash at the Castle. It's absolutely disgusting. And I think WWE really needs to look at that, one, in the way that they book it. I can't understand why on the back of 60 odd thousand at Clash of the Castle in the Principality in Cardiff, you would go and do the second Clash of the Castle in the Hydro, which holds 14,000 people. And the algorithm on Ticketmaster is just destroying the average wrestling fan, destroying it. It's really, really bad. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. In terms of loving international pay per view, Sean, as well, we do have we're going to talk about Nick Khan as well and stuff like that. He's been giving us that all this WrestleMania talk in Europe and in England is all just nonsense. So we shall see. Do you think Punk get a match or involved? I don't think much is going to change on Backlash because I think you have basically your three main events. Basically, Cody and AJ. I don't think there's anything else that's going to be thrown there, and I can't see why they would dump Drew and Punk straight in there on a Backlash card that's done at this stage. I think I seen something crazy today. Someone must have been messing around on Wikipedia. They had a thing. Someone sent me a screenshot from one of them from Backlash 2020, or not Backlash 2024, Clash of Castle 2024. Cody Rhodes versus Joe Hendry, which is definitely crazy, isn't it? Do you think Punk gets a match or involved? I think himself and Drew should be heavily involved in Clash of the Castle. But again, it's just, holds 14,000, and I mean, they could have done Celtic Park, they could have done Ibrox, they could have done Murrayfield, they could have done Hampden. There's so many different places they could have done, you know what I mean? There's plenty of stadiums up there and stuff like that and all, to pick the Hydro was the easy kind of out, Funniest Sandman moment was Vince McMahon coming into the venue and interacting was hilarious. Absolutely. I just wondered if Tony Khan had watched Hart Abrams' Dark Side of the Ring episode. Maybe he did. I was there on Sunday. It was a fun show, and the Scots were great. Would love the Govan team to stay. Yeah, absolutely. They were so nice in the shop and all, and really appreciative. And shocked that we had a shop as well. Coventry won. Coventry nil, Ipswich won. Not great for Leeds, that result, if that stands, if that's the way that's going. Barcelona blacklist. I think they were called wrestled. Maxar and Matthew Smith, and they were fantastic. Yeah, too. And you know, two really sound down to earth guys as well who just love their wrestling, and that's what you want to see, isn't it? Probably a begin on a palm match somewhere on the card, but yeah, nothing else. There you go. Herb Abram had tried competing against the WWF. Yeah, absolutely. Hydro is no bigger than the tree. The prices are a joke. Yeah, I think there's about 2,000 in the difference, so it's marginal. You know what I mean? But apparently they're struggling to move the tickets now. Those 2 night tickets, I think the cheapest you can get if you're looking for four, we're looking for four, is over £500, which is what, 560, €570. It's outrageous. You know what I mean? I mean, you can get a ticket for SmackDown in the States for about $50, $60. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You'd swear you're going to a UFC card with those prices. Yeah, and then you look, I don't know if anyone noticed, did you see the meet and greets that are going out for the Backlash pay per view for Damian Priest and for Jey Uso? Starting with the gold one at about 1,100 quid. 1,100 quid. Big, big bucks. That'd want to be some hospitality for me to eat a truckload of that kind of stuff to fulfill my 1,100 bucks. Fast forward year 2024, Tony Khan may claim that he and AEW are competing with WWE. Really, he should just stop. He should stop doing that. It was Matthew Smith. He's an arse and he retired Paddy Morrow. He's like Ross O'Carroll Kelly, but as a wrestler. Yeah, absolutely. All in prices are very reasonable. Yeah, they are, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'll see. Could be an option. Could be an option, Acers. Could be an option. Yeah, so going down through the card, I mean, there's nothing really. I mean, I think the matches, there's a certain level of quality to the matches, but I think overall, I think it's quite predictive in what's going to happen and predictable, you know. So it's just from that point of view, it's always that come down after the Mania card, really. And as I said, if key players are exiting the building to have a rest or take some time, you know, it's not going to really hit its straps. What I do like about it is the fact I think it starts at 6, is our 7 for us here. So that's fantastic. Anyway, no all-nighters and stuff like that, and especially for a Backlash pay-per-view. So there we go. And, you know, this is a Backlash pay-per-view. It should be a big deal when you go back and look at the history that we put together and some of the matches that were on it and all, you know. Big news coming out this week, of course. Drew McIntyre has signed a new WWE contract, which is fantastic news. I don't think there was going to be any other option, really. You know what I mean? Like, it's all well and good going to AEW and taking the bag and stuff like that, but in terms of your career and in terms of staying, you know, staying really, really relevant and stuff like that. You know, we've seen a number of WWE guys go into AEW now, and it just goes into that melting pot and just kind of gets lost in its relevancy, if you like. But it was great to see him, and it was cool when your man came over and presented the sword to him on the video in the restaurant, which was a pretty cool moment as well. So I really, really enjoyed that, and hats off to Drew. Delighted from. Other news, of course, MJF confirmed. MJF is going for shoulder surgery, so he's going to be out for a prolonged period. Um, I'm not sure if he's been holding out as long as he can. I'm not sure if he wants to be in the middle of all this kind of stuff that was going on previously and stuff like that and all. But certainly he's a massive loss, both himself and Kenny. And obviously Punk exiting the building. Massive loss to AEW and stuff like that and all. So he's going to be out having shoulder surgery. So the chances are we may not see Maxwell. Probably could be 2025. Who knows? Depending on how evasive the surgery is. And plus, all in weekend, there will also be a Premier League match on in London same weekend. Well, yeah, absolutely. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre promo last night was mint. It was very good, and the way they switched it as well was pretty cool. There's something special about when Punk goes down into the loudest position, isn't there? When he sits down and gets the mic, you know, and it's very much feels very much the same. I thought Drew up in the skybox as well was pretty cool as well, so I really, really enjoyed it. No messing about. And I love Punk's interaction where he talks about being the best on the mic, on the desk and stuff like that. And he says, no offense, Pat. No, he keeps going back to McAfee and like that. Seems to have taken a shine to McAfee, doesn't he, really, since he's gone back in and stuff like that. You know, he sees Pat's one of those guys, you know. Kenny's back tomorrow on Dynamite. Oh, is he? Interesting. That'll be good. That'll be interesting to see how that goes now with what's going on with this elite and the storyline with Khan, and you know we'll talk about that in a minute. Hey Tony, where are the fans? Where are the fans? In fairness, they showed up for Dynasty. They showed up for Dynasty. Kenny is only on Dynamite tomorrow night to be written off TV so he can get surgery. There you go. I was kind of thinking that. Yeah, I was thinking that as yeah. You're right, Acers, absolutely. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. He'll probably be the next victim on the this new elite, if you like, list. I'd imagine. New versus Tony Khan team for blood and guts match. Interesting. Interesting. Where do we want to go? Raw. How are we feeling about Raw last night? Becky Lynch comes out. You have the interaction, of course, with Liv Morgan. And then Nia comes down. Nia's last match on Raw, of course. So she has her match with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan comes out on top. No surprise. It's going to be interesting seeing Nia going over to SmackDown and all. Interesting to see what happens there and how they build. And we'll talk about the draft now in a minute and what it means. The NXT people that are going in really is what I was focusing on. So the rest of the draft was really just kind of was what it was, kind of way. But some interesting things on this last night. Awesome Truth retained over the Alpha Academy. We seen Sami Zayn getting attacked by Chad after having the match with Bronson Reed and beating Bronson Reed. Chad straight in there. Soundings of Kurt Angle. I don't know if you've seen it this week. Kurt Angle was talking about how he'd like to go in as a heel manager in there with Chad and stuff like that. If the offer was right, of course, it's always the way. I think Tony Khan is an Eric Bischoff. Don't know about that. I don't think Tony Khan's anywhere near an Eric Bischoff, to be honest. But we also opened up. I mean, our first match really was that interesting interaction as well with Logan Paul and Patrick Mahomes was there. And good Lord, looking at Jordan Devlin's face after taking those punches with those Hall of Fame rings and stuff, that he looked pretty beat up, didn't he? He looked pretty beat up, he did, as Asa said. Logan Paul KO JD McNugget Mint, absolutely, yeah. But great reaction, and a massive reaction, obviously being in Kansas with Patrick Mahomes. And sometimes when I hear of shows in Canvas, I get a little bit. I get a little bit teary, if you like, thinking back to Owen obviously and stuff like that, and the Kemper Arena and stuff like that, and also always when I hear Canvas, I think of Owen Hart, So just a small point. At Acers, when is Blood and Guts? After Double or Nothing. I think Tony Khan is down in Eric Bischoff. He's not doing anywhere near Eric Bischoff. Draft on both nights were a complete waste of TV time. Could have just announced it online and used the TV time for wrestling. Fully agree, Kenny. And I think eventually that's the way it will probably go. I think what they should do is just have like some sort of a side show or something for the draft or something like that. Because it really, where I liked seeing the Dudleys and I liked seeing Teddy Long and these other people coming out and stuff and the APA and all to present and stuff like that. I was more taken by the presenters than I was by the movement of the draft and stuff like that, which is, something that needs to be taken into account when they're looking at it, because it does take up quite a slice of time as well. But yeah, Kenny, you're spot on there. I think so as well. I think it could even be like a YouTube show or something like that. I don't think it's that big a deal anymore. And especially if you're not going to move a whole lot around, it doesn't really matter. Just to let you know, folks, it's 1-0 to Real Madrid, 24 minutes, Vinicius Jr. Roll me one Kenobi will be ecstatic. 1-0 to Real Madrid. Bayern Munich were playing well, had a couple of chances and stuff like that, but Real Madrid, Vinny Jr., as he always does. Acers, after Double or Nothing, yeah, that's the Blood and Guts. Real Madrid 1-0, Vinicius Jr. there, we're up to date there on comments. So yeah, breaking down, Xavier Woods, guys, did you hear those chops? My God, the description was that they're still echoing around the building. And I think, do you know something? It's going to be interesting to see now the development of Gunther and where he goes now with the reign ending. And we will talk about it now in a minute, what he spoke about with Sammy and stuff like that and all, that he felt it was good, But Xavier Woods doesn't get enough credit. Sure, he doesn't for being a singles competitor and how he sells and what he does and stuff like that. Big fan of Xavier Woods. As we said, the Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn versus Bronson Reed. Chad Gable jumping in and attacking. No surprise there. Big up to Braun Strowman coming back. You seen Braun Strowman last night getting involved. Good to see him. Looked the business. Looked in real good nick. But I think we seen him at the he was at the World, wasn't he? Doing signings and stuff like that for auctions and all that kind of stuff. And he looked even big and buff then, so really looks the part. If it's possible for a guy like Bronson Reed, or sorry, like Braun Strowman to get even bigger. But he looked in real good nick last night and stuff like that as well. Also, I really enjoyed the interaction backstage as well with Sheamus and Braun Breaker. That was pretty cool as well. And Braun Breaker's a big dude as well, but it's only when you see them face to face backstage. It goes to show you how big Sheamus is as well. Sheamus is a big, big dude. We spoke about CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Candice LeRae picking up the win over Maxine Dupree. Liv Morgan beating Nia Jax. Awesome Truth retaining over Alpha Academy. And then we got the main event, which was the 6-man where Jey Uso, Andrade, and Ricochet ended up beating the Judgment Day. And that was kind of Raw, coupled with parts of the draft lottery, basically. There wasn't a huge amount more in it. 15 titles incoming. It's mad, isn't it? Mental. Walter, World Heavyweight Champion, bashing Berlin. World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, be okay with that. Be okay with that. Yeah, it's a real concerning thing now, isn't it? Really, because they've paved this road with these guys in terms of the World Heavyweight Belt and the Universal Championship that Cody has. It's kind of like it's gonna have to stay on them for a bit, isn't it? Which means anything coming up now is going to be pretty predictable. So that's why I think it's really, really interesting now with some of these guys and girls that have come up from NXT on the draft, just to freshen things up a little bit and stuff like that. Because what we could see happening is that our attention might be more towards what's going on in the middle to upper card as opposed to the title matches. So the title matches could become pretty predictable. But let's see what happens. But yeah, I'd love to see Gunter in around either title and stuff like that. Even Gunter Cody would be unbelievable for a while. That's your Raw recap. As Kenny said in the chat there, really nothing to write home about. At this stage, it could be done on the side. I thought that Sheamus versus was going to be made for Backlash. Yeah. They could squeeze stuff in there. We'll see. There is still a SmackDown to happen on the Friday, so they might crowbar something in then. The draft, as Kenny said, it was kind of an interesting moment as well for Sean, wasn't it? With Dijak, Ilya Dragunov, Lyra Valkyrie, Kiana James, Carmelo Hayes, Blair Davenport. This is quite a sizable chunk of talent coming out of NXT. So, really pleased to see these guys and girls getting their promotion right up, especially Lyra. We know Lyra well. Getting promoted up onto Raw is pretty cool. But it'd be interesting to see where she fits into that landscape there, because I was thinking when I seen Lyra getting called up, while I was happy for her and stuff like that, like I kind of think that Tommaso Ciampa feel as well, where maybe you might not necessarily want to come up at that time because there's so many talented girls there at the moment. It could be a great opportunity for her, and it'd be interesting to see what their plan is for her. But a big task for Shawn Michaels now back down on NXT as well to have these other guys and girls now step up with that level of talent getting taken out of there. So let me know your thoughts. What did you think of the NXT picks? You happy with the NXT picks? Were you expecting something different? Was many of them a shock? Let me know. Yeah, just said I'd touch on this. Obviously, Sami Zayn and Gunther. Gunther was talking on a podcast during the week there, and he said he was very, very happy with Sami taking the belt. He felt that it was that time, and he said Sami's such an experienced competitor and such a great worker and all that kind of stuff, that he felt that it was Sami's time, and that he was quite happy with the reign coming to an end by Sami Zayn. So interesting thoughts by Gunther and stuff like that. He seemed more appreciative of it than I did, because I certainly wasn't in that. I certainly wasn't in that boat. But that's me, just big fan of Gunther and stuff like that. Kenny's in. Lyra will be a megastar. Really excited to see what they do with her. But Dragunov is the one to watch. Yeah, he is, isn't he? He is. And I also had a look at that. Romy One Kenobi asked me to check out that AZM, I think it is, AZM on YouTube, and I checked it out on YouTube. Good Lord. If you get a chance, check it out. The highlight reel is incredible and stuff like that. And I want to sit down and watch a few matches, but that girl is incredible. Coup de grace off the top of cages and everything and all. This girl is nuts, as they say. Nuts. It was a great match, but I wouldn't have minded Gunther winning. But Sammy is excellent too. Yeah, I was all in on Gunther. Maybe it was just me wanting what I wanted. Vince McMahon wanted Shinsuke Nakamura to dethrone Gunther, not Sami Zayn. Flip for coin for me. Flip for coin for me. Really disappointed in Shinsuke. I really am. I just really disappointed. I was such a huge star fan of his on NXT and in New Japan and stuff like that. So it's really, really disappointing. Like we said, WrestleMania 41. I think it ends up. I think it definitely ends up in Las Vegas. I think that's the way it's going to go, and I think maybe there'll be some sort of commitment to Minnesota and stuff like that. But I'm sure they're going to go crazy if they don't get it. So there's a lot going on in the background there, and I'm sure we're due an announcement probably in the next week or so because they're talking about it being in May as well going forward as well, aren't they? Not so early in the calendar. So it'll be interesting the way they switch all this around. Maybe you're going to have then you see it's difficult as well. Then what do you think about the calendar? Then are you going to have to bump the chamber? You're going to have to bump the Rumble by a month, and then what are you going to put into January? January traditionally is the Rumble month. It's a long wait if you go from January all the way to May if you're the Royal Rumble winner, isn't it? 4 months. You're stretching it out a bit then, aren't you? So they might have to chunk the whole calendar. So if WrestleMania is going to be in May, Chamber's going to be in April, Rumble would have to be in March, then what you put into February and what you put into January. We're going to have to think about it, but it'll be interesting. Shinsuke is beyond saving. Yes, look, I agree. Just disappointed, but I do agree. Great seat, honor, and prestige back to the Intercontinental title, I would imagine. Absolutely. Rock versus Roman Reigns, Vegas, box office. Absolutely, box office. Big time. Big time. And I tell you, I'd be excited to go. I've never been to Vegas, so that would be quite a trip for us all, really, to go on. But also, I'm dying to see that Raider Stadium as well. That looks amazing. So, and there's a lot of new hotels getting built and stuff like that as well, isn't there? I've seen a number of hotels are getting demolished and stuff like that. So, they're really changing it up and regenerating the whole place. But yeah, the card would be absolutely massive and the build up would be brilliant. And I suppose the fact that it's later in the year and it's May as well, it gives everyone more of an opportunity to save money for going and all that kind of stuff. So every cloud has a silver lining, as they say. What did we make of this? Nick Khan the other day putting a bunch of shares, his TKO shares up for sale. Should we read into this? We know he has a contract till 2025. Do you see a situation in 2025 where Nick Khan exits the building? Has he received a better offer? Is he going to do something else potentially in TKO? Or what was the idea of him putting the shares up? I know they haven't been sold yet, but they've been flagged as available for purchase. I know Vince McMahon's shares sold. And there was even talk going around the other day of a new promotion and all this kind of thing and all. But I don't think, to me, that's not a runner. But he also spoke in an interview the other day, Nick Khan, and he kind of made the point that WrestleMania outside of America just is not a runner. It's just not going to happen. And that was my feeling all along. I never thought that we would see WrestleMania in London or anywhere else in Europe. I think it's just that's just the way it is. WrestleMania happens there. The trade off financially would be massive trying to put it somewhere else. So, but no surprise at all there with that. This is what I mentioned the other day. I was reading there today about this. The Zone. They've basically done AEW on Pro Wrestling and also VIX, I think it is VIX, which is the Latin American TV show that they were doing as well. So a lot of problems there at AEW at the moment. A lot to be looked at. Obviously issues with ratings. Obviously issues with attendance. Certainly, then it becomes a lot more difficult when this kind of shenanigans is going on. what did you make of this? I thought the angle I thought was a good idea. Um, on the back of the footage and stuff like that. But it's kind of petered out now. And my fear was rocking up to the end. The NFL obviously covered it on their website and stuff like that. But obviously rocking up with the neck brace on to the draft and like not being able to pull it off in terms of the injury because he's just moving the head around, the neck around normally, not like the way he was maneuvering the body. And the neck piece was just going all over the place, the brace and stuff like that. And also, it just looked a bit stupid. But what did you make of his comments as well? When he was on the broadcast, where he turned around and he said that AEW is the Pepsi of pro wrestling. And interesting enough, using Pepsi. Another little dig, I'd imagine, which really needs to stop at this stage. And he described WWE as the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling. What did you make of the? What did you make? What did you make of those comments? How did you feel about those comments in the chat? Let me know what you thought. Sean saying Tony Khan is many people, but he's not Andy Kaufman. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely crazy. But I'm not too sure whether I like the idea of him coming on as an on-screen character like this. Even the build up to the Jack Perry attack and all was kind of shite, wasn't it? For lack of a better word. Don't know how he could compare a fizzy drink to a convicted criminal, but here we are. Yeah, it was just weird, and it was kind of the comment was kind of ill advised. It didn't go down well, I don't think. It just sounded a little bit stupid, like whatever about if you want to have a dig at Vince McMahon on the allegations or whatever it is and stuff like that. It's weird to attack a whole promotion, and you're attacking a whole promotion of people who have left that you have signed. If you look at least 50 to 60% of your roster is ex WWE. So what does that tell you? LM Gaming in, big up, love the profile picture. Just to let you know how much I love the profile picture, I have the phone stand right here. So there you go. But cool profile picture. Tony went back on his word. If you remember, he said he would never be an on-screen character, but that's par for the course as well, isn't it? Like, I don't mind if someone wanting to be an on-screen character if they're capable of doing it and they're capable of making it happen and stuff like that. But he just comes across goofy and kind of silly. Like if you look at, when he was in the ring the other night with Jack Perry and he's doing all this, like it's contrived nonsense, really, isn't it? Absolute contrived nonsense, and it's just I thought they would use the Dynasty pay-per-view as a springboard, to really push on, get rid of the nonsense. Okay, if you want to make an angle, but like, don't be about those guys, don't be about him and stuff like that and all, you know what I mean? I just thought it was weird, and I suppose on the face of it, it looked like the kind of thing to do because of the footage and stuff like that. And I think they were trying to recover from the backlash of the footage going out because that wasn't well received either. So it was kind of weird. So, but yeah, it's just no surprise, LM Gaming. Tony Khan, Kenny's in. Tony Khan is just burying his company deeper every week. Yeah, he is just ill advised, or even if he being advised, even Sean, WWE is the hunky dory of wrestling. Meanwhile, AEW is the okie dokies of wrestling. I do like okie dokies. I won't have a bad word said about okie dokies now. WWE is the smoky bacon tato of wrestling. AEW is the cheese and onion tato of wrestling. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, there's so much you could say. Great podcast with Eric Bischoff and Bully Ray. No love loss with TK, but Bully goes in hard too. Good watch. Yeah, it was. It was very, very good. See, I like a lot of that busted open stuff and all. Like, it's pretty cool. But Bully Ray, there's no messing about with him, and I like the way he thinks as well. He goes down into levels when he's talking about stuff, and he makes it very easy to break it down for you to understand because he gives you kind of little comparables to say movies or storylines and TV shows and kind of stuff as a comparable to make it make sense and stuff like that. A lot of time for him on the podcast, really good. Tony Khan versus Eric Bischoff. No more Twitter X-Verbal wars. Let's do this. Fans, make it happen. Be a disaster. Be a disaster. Look, they have to take pot shots at each other. That's what makes content. Like the likes of Eric Bischoff and Busted Open Radio and all these guys, they love what's going on in AEW. It gives them so much content. All those podcasts gives us so much content. WWE is the candle wax of wrestling. Meanwhile, AEW is the earwax of wrestling. Good Lord. We're going in hard here. WWE is the badass of wrestling, while AEW is the ass of wrestling. You're flying tonight. WWE is the Guinness of wrestling, while AEW is the Guinness of wrestling. Maybe Beamish or something like that. One of the cheap ones. Bully Ray's understanding of the psychology in pro wrestling is insane. It is. He's so interesting to listen to, isn't he? When he comes on, I really like listening to him. And what I do like about it as well, the way they structure that podcast with David Greca as well, I think is really cool because they rarely agree. They disagree as well, and it's pretty cool. And it's when they disagree on a topic, that's when Bully goes deep in his definition on it, which I really, really like. WWE is the ketchup of wrestling, while AEW is the whole grain mustard of wrestling. I do like mustard. WWE is the Oxygen Festival of wrestling, while AEW is the 2024 Electric Picnic of wrestling. The lineup, my friends, the lineup. 41 minutes gone, still 1-0 to Real Madrid. Vinny Jr. on 24. Romy and Kenobi will be ecstatic. Right, let's take a little bit of history. Let us know your thoughts, folks. Backlash. Tell us your Backlash moments, your Backlash matches, whatever it is. Because we are leading into the Backlash pay-per-view this weekend, so I thought I'd do it a little bit different. So I picked out some moments. I'll go through them first. Of course, Backlash 99. Undertaker kidnaps Stephanie McMahon. What a moment. Big Show swings Rey Mysterio on the stretcher. Backlash 03. How could we forget about that? Unbelievable to see Rey Mysterio hurtling through the air, strapped to a stretcher. That's crazy. Vince McMahon wins the ECW Championship at Backlash 2007. Mick Foley versus Randy Orton. Backlash 04. Good lordy. The Rock performs a double rock bottom with Triple H and a ref at Backlash 2000. And we have Big Show throws John Cena through a spotlight at Backlash 2009. Sean, you wouldn't have appreciated that one. And of course, at Backlash 2001, Shane McMahon takes that leap off the rig. Good Lord. How could we forget about that? That's some of the moments that I picked out there. Let's see if we got any more moments in here. Yeah. Orton versus Foley street fight. Yeah. My God. Edge versus Angle 2002. So he killed him. I didn't know he killed him. You hit the bollocks. Absolutely. Yeah. Orton Foley 04 was decent. Yeah, God, that was serious, wasn't it? That was a real coming out really for Randy Orton, wasn't it? That match. It was pretty hardcore and pretty aggressive. Absolutely aces. Chris Benoit versus Chris Jericho 2000. Classic match. Right, let's go down through the matches, and I've put in some more recent ones as well. And I'll tell you why. And I'm sure you probably know as well. RVD versus Eddie from 2002 was good as well, yeah. Like, when you think about the Backlash pay-per-view, excluding kind of recent times, there's quite a lineage to it, isn't there? It's quite a lineage to the Backlash pay-per-view, stuff like that. And it's something that should be maintained, and something that should be taken very, very serious, which is interesting, the move to bring it to France. But there's been some unbelievable stuff on Backlash. Triple threat match, Benoit, Triple H, and Michaels. Yeah, absolutely. What a match. But I'll start off an interesting one. This one will be controversial for you guys. Because the pay-per-view itself was an absolute disaster. But this match actually stood out head and shoulders above everything else. And the first one I went with was 2018. Seth Rollins versus The Miz. And the rest of the pay-per-view was basically garbage. But I really thought that was a good one. Kenny's in. Jericho versus Steamboat. Yeah, on paper a match for the ages, whoever it wasn't. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. Um, yes, absolutely. It was one of the best of the year, Sean. Yeah, but it stuck out really on a really, really poor pay per view, really, when you think about it. It was the shining light on that backlash. So, yeah, absolutely. And next one I put in, one that's often forgotten about from 2000. Because, of course, we talk about The Rock versus Triple H and all that kind of stuff from 2000. But this one I put in, which I thought was very, very good as well. Dean Malenko versus Scotty 2 Hottie from 2000. I thought was a cool one. Just to let you know, half time, folks, 1-0 to Real Madrid. Vinicius Jr. on 24. I know the rest of the pay per view was tragic. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Triple H versus Batista 2005. I have a Batista match in there. I'm not sure whether I have that one or not. Still remember seeing Joe putting Rome in a rest hold, and you see the crowd getting up and leaving. Tragic. Next up, I did the triple threat in 2006. John Cena versus Edge versus Triple H. Another classic, Kurt Angle versus Edge from Backlash 2002. I did Batista versus Undertaker 2007. 99, of course, is Rock versus Austin. 2004, one we've mentioned already, of course, Randy Orton versus Cactus Jack. I think we mentioned this one as well. I'm not too sure. 2007, John Cena versus Edge versus Randy Orton versus Shawn Michaels. And then 2009, we had John Cena versus Edge. And I rounded it out, of course, with 2000. Fitting, considering they couldn't climb it in WWE. The Rock versus Triple H for 2000. Sean, one of those legends wrestled in Enniskillen, and it wasn't Malenko. Absolutely. He also wrestled at a couple of Comic Cons as well. He also nearly wrestled with Grandmaster Sexay as well on a visit as well. Big shout out. I put Scotty 2 Hottie in there as well because I put it in for Dave Cullen. I don't know if Dave Cullen is tuned in tonight or if he watches it on the repeat and stuff like that. Make sure you're smashing the likes, folks, as well, will you? As we go into notable birthdays and stuff like that. But I had to include a Scotty 2 Hottie match from Backlash for Dave Cullen. Big shout out to Dave. I hope you had a good time at Mania as well. Sean, that was so good. The side of Triple H, head to toe in his own blood, was class. Yeah, absolutely. Acers is in. Ken Shamrock versus Undertaker 99. Another great shout. Daz is in. Ray in 2004 was a good match. Yeah, absolutely. It's great shout. That's what I'm saying. The lineage of Backlash is absolutely insane when you go back and look at it. And it's for me, it's kind of, just outside of the Sacred Four, but right in there, if you like it, like kind of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and stuff like that, right in there as well. And I think it's something that they need to look at. Backlash is a big deal, and it should be a big deal with its history. Cena, Triple H, Randy, and Shawn from 2000 was really good. Yeah, that's the one I have in there. Yeah, just mentioned it. Right, we'll take some notable birthdays, and then you lovely people can go on your way. Sean, don't forget, hit me up later. Let me know what time suits, and we'll set up a live show to review that Sandman episode if you can get to see it tomorrow. So notable birthdays. Unfortunately, this year's Backlash is just an afterthought. Yeah, that's where I'm coming from, Kenny. Really, Rock versus Goldberg 2003. I was only looking at that today. One today. I'll be in touch. I can't wait. Absolutely, Sean. Great to have you on as well again. We had Sean on before. If you want to check it out, Collector's Corner. We had a lot of fun. Sean's a huge DVD collector, amongst other things. So notable birthdays. A man who's been on Morris's channel. Make sure you're checking out Morris's channel. Paul Roma, 1959. Interesting from what I read today with Cody, but Joe Henry, 1988. Of course, 1963, the late great Big Bossman. The Rock celebrates his birthday this week, 1972, the same age as myself. Stu Hart, 1915. Mr. Fuji, 1935. 1984, Mr. Freshly Squeezed himself, Orange Cassidy. And you're going to kill me on this one, but I have to round it out with this one. It was the other one that was in there. 1988. Hate to end the show like this. Brooke Hogan celebrates her birthday this week as well. Sean, I was devoted the 27th and best guest in Dynamo's dozen history. 27, what a random number. So that's it, folks, again for another week, Pro Wrestling Weekly. Not a huge amount going on. We'll have to see what comes out of Backlash. Next week, we will be back with the Backlash review. I think Ian might be coming on for that, the old Backlash review and stuff like that. Thursday, I'll have Thursday Tier Talk. I think it's just myself. I think Darren's caught up, so it might be just me. So we might go at an earlier time for Thursday Tier Talk. If we can get a time down with Sean tomorrow night, we'll do a review of Dark Side of the Ring Sandman. I knew I'd have to bring him on for he's the biggest Sandman guy that I know, fan-wise. Also, tomorrow I will have a show dropping in the morning where I take a look at this situation with Mo Salah that has gotten quite toxic within the fan base. But also Liverpool announcing today that they're cancelling the end of season parade. Thank God. Thank God. So I give my views on that and on Mo Salah from a practical point of view, not from a triggered reactory point of view. So check out that show in the morning. What else we got going on? I think that's mainly it, bar shorts and stuff like that. So yeah, check all those things out, and don't forget to check out tomorrow night. Hopefully myself and Sean live with the Sandman Dark Side of the Ring review. Until next time, folks, smash the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button, and drop a like on the video on the way out. And of course, share the content if you can as well. Great thank you to all you people in the chat there who have showed up tonight. I know Champions League is on and all that kind of stuff. So you can go now, enjoy the second half if you haven't been watching it, or if it's not your flavour, continue with the wrestling. And I will talk to you again real soon. Cheers, folks.